Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be wrapping up my reading for the month of March. And this was an interesting month. It was a pretty average month. I had one exceptional read, and then I had pretty much everything else with a 3-star. I think everything else was fine. I liked it, but just one standout, and nothing was really special other than that. So let's get into it. The first book that I finished in the month of March was Tiamats' Wrath, book 8 of The Expanse, and this book was fantastic. I ended up giving this book a 5-star rating, and not only that, it is currently my second favorite book of all time. I thought about it, that's where I initially ranked it right after I finished, and it's still there. This book was just everything that I wanted out of this series. I had been kind of underwhelmed from The Expanse as a whole up until this point. You know, I thought it was a good series, but man, this book just hit. Everything was just perfect about this book. I don't have anything negative to say. This book has been on my mind, and I have been anxiously awaiting my chance to read the next book, which I will be doing in April. I'll be doing an April TBR here probably on Tuesday, so keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, this book, I have a whole review for it if you want to check it out. It is spoilers. I couldn't talk about it without just spoiling it because that late into a series, what's the point? But I needed to talk about it. It was fantastic. I loved it. And if you were on the fence about The Expanse, this book, I know it's book 8, which is a lot to get to. I still think the series is worth it just to get to that book. After Tiamats' Wrath, I moved on and continued with the James Bond books. And I believe this was this also book 9? I think this was also book 9. I'll double check. But I read Thunderball by Ian Fleming, and this was a 3-star. I have a review for it as well. This book, it's kind of continuing the trend that I've been noticing in this series where those first couple books, really the first 5 or 6, I really liked. I really enjoyed them. I thought they had this charm to them. And I've said that a lot, especially about this series, but they just did. They just had this charm, this kind of feeling to it. Sure, definitely full of some very problematic things. They were written, starting in the 40s or 50s. So, I'm sure you can understand some of the things that are put into these books. But the trend has just kind of been, they're fine now. They definitely feel much more action film, which makes sense at this point. They had started to make James Bond films, and they definitely felt like it. I think this one, this is the book that I think was originally a screenplay and then got turned into a book. So, I can kind of understand why. But overall, it was a fine story. I did really like the ending, but everything, I think it was the beginning and the ending were really good, and then the middle was just kind of a lull. So it did end up being 3 stars. It's definitely towards the bottom of my James Bond rankings, but I still liked it, and I, plan on continuing with the series. I really don't even think I should consider this one a book. I think it's like 15 pages or something, but I finished the 11th Medal, which is in this collection of stories. It was next on my all-powerful Cosmere list, and so I'm just kind of following along there. I gave it 3 stars. It feels kind of weird to really rank something this short, so I kind of just threw it in the 3-star. I liked it. It was a nice little, it's not even fair to call it a prequel, but it was a nice little just story before the main story. It was fun, involved some characters that I liked. So, I'm excited to continue with my Cosmere journey, which I did this month. But it was fine. I liked it, and so I feel like I've already said more than the whole story did because there's just not a lot in it. But it's still a good time. Next up for me was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it was The Way of Edan by Philip Chase. He's a booktuber, if you don't know. He goes, I think a lot of people call him, Dr. Fantasy, and I do just want to say I am a fan of him. I not really talked to him, just some comments here and there on some of his videos, but this was a mixed bag for me. I did end up giving it 3-star. I do plan on doing a full review for it. But the real short of it is I really liked the first third and the last third of this book, and the middle third was definitely a struggle for me. It was a lot of peaks and valleys, especially in that middle section. There are some really deep chasms that I just did not enjoy what was going on, but there were also peaks. There's one peak I'm thinking of that I was actually talking about with somebody else that they didn't like it and I liked it. So there are definitely different feelings among people who have read this book, but the first third and the last third are what kept this book up for me. So I'm happy that I can at least say I did give it 3 stars, and I will also say I am very much looking forward to the sequel, which I think comes out in June. You know, the world that gets built in here is probably my favorite part of it. I'll have to think about it, but definitely keep an eye out for a review on it. And the last book I finished this month was Elantris. That is by Brandon Sanderson, and I also gave this a 3-star. I'll probably end up doing a review for this just because I wanted to have a track of all the Cosmere reading I'm doing. If you don't know, I'm trying to read all of the Cosmere this year. Don't know if it's going to happen, but I am going to try. But yeah, 3 stars for this book. I don't really know exactly what it was for my short, quick review here. I didn't really connect with the story. I thought the mystery that's going on in the story was cool. The possible magic that's going on seemed cool. But for the most part, it was just fine. If this is the worst that Brandon Sanderson has to offer to me in the Cosmere, though, I'm very excited. I think I've heard for the most part that this is kind of one of his lesser works, and I think it's the first one he really published. So yeah, if this is the worst, man, that's a good thing for me going forward for this year. If you did watch my March TBR, you will notice that one book is definitely missing from this list, and that is The Ships of Merior by Janny Wurts. I don't know what it is. I have not dedicated any time to reading this book. I think I read 30 pages, or just less. I think 26 pages in this month for this book, and I don't know why. Every time I sit down and read this, which obviously hasn't been a lot, I like it. It's good. I liked the first book in this series, and for whatever reason, I just have not dedicated any time to it, and that's a shame because I think this series has a lot to offer, and I want to get through it. I even have the next book sitting on my shelf right there, right above the Charizard's working out. So I think this is something I just need to put some effort into. I don't know why I keep pushing it down, but yeah, 30 whole pages in this, so maybe April will be the month. I also just wanted to mention some of the manga I'm reading. Now that I'm done with the books, I've got some notes here so I can get all of the volumes and chapters right. So I am currently reading Vagabond, which I am following along with the Philip Chase, Murphy Napier read along they're doing on their channel. They have some really great discussions. If you are interested in Vagabond or have read it, I recommend those discussions. They do a great job and bring up some things that every time I miss, or they bring the conversation in a direction that I just think is really good. So I am currently on volume 22, which is chapter 189. I will say, personally, I think the series took a little bit of a lull in the last 50 chapters. Kind of went on a side quest, introducing some new characters. But I think we're really about to pick up. I really think we're kind of at like a big flashpoint or something where a lot of people are coming together. So I think that's going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to continuing that. I'm also reading Black Clover. I'm on chapter 354, which I think I am 1 week behind on release there. Same thing with My Hero. I think I'm actually 2 chapters behind on My Hero. I'm on chapter 383. Boruto, I am 1 whole chapter behind on, and that is chapter 78 I need to read. One Piece. Oh man, if there are any One Piece fans out there, I have finally gotten to the point where I like this series. I think I mentioned this last time, yet I only read like 20 chapters, so I am currently on chapter 115. I have some ideas floating around of how I want to handle some manga content on the channel because it is something I really do enjoy, and One Piece will definitely be a part of it. But yeah, only 115 chapters in, so still like 1,000 chapters behind. Also reading Berserk, which I don't think a new chapter came out this month. I didn't look, so I might be a chapter behind, but I don't think so. And same thing with Vinland Saga. A chapter probably did come out, and I haven't gotten to it yet. I'll probably get to those. I'll check on those probably this weekend, actually. So yeah, that's my manga update. Also just wanted to throw in a little bit of random TV talk at the end of this. I finished watching The Sopranos this month, and I had been slowly watching it, and my reading was actually down a little bit this month because I really dedicated a lot of time to watching it. I wanted to finish it up, And I'm glad I did. If you haven't watched The Sopranos, you should. I think it's definitely worth it. And yeah, I finally finished, and I'm really happy to finally be done with that series. I'm not sure what my next like kind of long series will be. I was thinking maybe The Wire will be the next one I pick up. It's on HBO too, so that might be the next one I pick up. And I will go ahead and end this wrap up with just mentioning my book of the month, which was none other than Tiamats' Wrath. Not really too hard to guess there. I did give it 5 stars, my only 5-star of this month. So yeah, that book was just awesome. I hope something will be able to top it for this year. I really doubt it. Don't give out a lot of 5 stars. So really happy with that. Yeah, so that's all for me, and I hope you have a good one.